Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today's video is gonna be random. Basically, well, you might be wondering, why is this sign saying random while the title on the video says something completely different? Well, because it's a lot more work to write text on a chalkboard 3D model than that it is to put it in a title. So I think that describing this as random is good enough, and yeah, it's fine. Alright. So, random, yes. So, as the title suggests, and the chalkboard kind of doesn't really suggest anymore, I want to kind of just talk about a thing, right? Just kind of talk about a cool concept that I had, and I don't know, maybe if I turn this into a series, more concepts that I have had, and the concept that I wanted to talk about is my Heads API concept, which would have been really cool had it worked. So yeah, that's why you haven't heard of it already. It doesn't actually work, sadly. But it was honestly really promising, and it's just like one tiny thing that makes it not work. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to talk about the concept and just be like, yeah, this would have been really cool if it worked, and it honestly is, quite cool of an idea still. So, even though it doesn't work, still pretty nice. So, I don't know, I'll make a video, and yeah, I'll just talk for a bit because I like talking, in case you hadn't noticed yet. So yeah, let's get going. All right, so yeah, you might assume that Heads API has at least something to do with player heads, and you technically would be right by assuming that, because obviously the name is a pun. However, um, it's not actually really anything like what you probably are assuming, like a custom heads database thingy that basically just allows you to get heads in game that are custom, like some websites do. No, that already exists, so obviously it's possible. So this has to be something that doesn't exist yet. So yeah. But in order to kind of really explain what the idea is, I kind of first need to explain how the heads work, right? Because I can explain exactly my whole thought process, right? But that's kind of boring because I can tell you about the great idea I had, or I can take you on a path to actually kind of figure it out yourself as well. I feel like one would be slightly more educational than the other. So yeah, I'm doing it my way. Yay. If you want, you can technically skip ahead anyway, so who cares? Alright. So obviously you have heads, right? You have skeleton skulls, wither skeleton skulls, zombie heads, creeper heads, player heads, right? And then I mean, that dragon heads exist, but who cares? They were added later on. It's meh. Right. So, most of those heads are kind of boring, right? They don't really do anything. Like I'm looking at the list right now, like skeleton skulls, they don't really do anything. I mean, they lower the follow distance of skeletons and stuff, and because it kind of disguises you. What's the thoughts behind it? Which honestly, it is a really cool feature. Honestly, I quite like it. It's never really practical because by the time you get a skeleton skull, you have another red helmet. But hey, it's fine. It's fine. Right. But then you have player heads, which are unobtainable for anyone in survival mode. You can't kill another player with a charge creeper. And what's you can get them in creative mode, and they're kind of boring. They're a Steve head, but the really cool thing is obviously their custom player tag thingy, Skull Owner, if you know command blocks, right? So what Skull Owner does is you can just get the head of another player. And there obviously, as I mentioned before, there are sites that can you know, give you the specific heads, so you can have like a pineapple in Minecraft. Really cool. By having the specific data, because obviously if you can have a head of a player, well, the texture needs to be defined somehow, right? So you can trick it into basically just being any texture you want, right? Because it's designed to do that. It doesn't have to be a real player. However, what I also mentioned before already, obviously, was that, well, you can have a player head, right? And that's kind of the direction that this is actually going. You can have a player head, and you can get the skin of a player. And that's actually a really big deal. And obviously, I mean, that has existed for a very long time, and I never really thought about it for too much. Like, yeah, it exists, who cares? Like, you can just get a player head, it's cool, it's a nice bit of decoration, good if you want to give credit to yourself when you make a map, simple, elegant, nice. But what happens if you change your skin? And now you might be seeing where I'm going with this. Because if the same player suddenly has a different skin, and you get a new head that has the new skin, obviously, because you get skin of the player, right? But the skin of the player is dictated by the real world. Like, there is a person who was like, hey, I want to have this skin, right? And they did it. And you can get that information in Minecraft. And if you don't get where I'm going, honestly, it doesn't matter that much. But if you do get where I'm going, then yeah, there is a direct connection between the outside world and your Minecraft world. And that might not, sound like a big deal or anything, but that's really hard to do. Like, for example, there are loads of, like, if you make a data pack or anything like that, if you make anything at all, really, like, game development-wise, it's really fun to add, like, Easter eggs that are only available during holidays. For example, Minecraft adds chests that look like presents, or pumpkins, or skeletons and zombies and other mobs that I don't have the time to mention. And that's really cool. But datapacks can't do that because we don't know when it is in the year, because we just know how long you have been playing in your world, and if you log off, then, well, time is frozen, so you can't even like count or anything. So what datapacks do is, like, during Halloween you can download a special Halloween edition, and if you keep that version, then you will have Halloween for the rest of your life. It's not that elegant of a solution, and I decided against it. Like, I was considering making a Halloween data pack, version of my superheroes data pack. And I decided that was just not really worth it. I considered, like, tricking people into getting the newer version by, like, consistently, like, updating it, but that seemed like too much work, right? Yeah, like this, you could, for instance, update your skin every single day to a new skin, right? Every single day of the year. And once you get back to, the next year, you start again at the beginning. And then your head obviously changes throughout every single stage, and you would be able to detect that because, well, the player head looks different, and that's very detectable. And there you go, bam! You know exactly what day it is. You can use that as an API to connection to the outside world, and you, just like that, bam, have a data pack that anyone can add to their data pack. Like, they can make it a requirement, and they can just text that, say, hey, if it is day 5, I don't know, 53, then I want this function to also run. Like, it would be amazing, honestly, right? Like, just being able to detect what day it is. And obviously, it doesn't necessarily need to end there. It's just the main, like, thing that I thought about doing. Like, you could theoretically also add, like, weather data or something like that. But it would be quite tricky to, like, really, because, like, whose weather data do you want to show? Like, it's a bit odd. Um, like, there are people play from all over the world, so giving from one little, like, town the other weather data, like, doesn't really matter that much. So yeah, that didn't really seem worth it. But yeah, like, you know, honestly, that's basically my concept. Just use player heads to put information from the real world into your game, like, just like that. You know, it's pretty cool, really simplistic, and honestly, it's not an issue at all, because there are no issues with this concept. So yeah, I did spend a stream researching this, like a long time ago, when I believed this to be possible. And yeah, it didn't quite work out. But yeah, before that, let's get it going on where it was still working. The day was the 20th of April. Why do I start saying the date now? Because I only just looked it up on Discord. I may or may not have messaged someone like 3 paragraphs of text about this project because I thought it was really cool. And I looked at the date, and it apparently was the 20th of April. Really cool. But yes, so I wanted to make an API to transmit data of the real world into the game. And I was doing some research because, well, while transmitting data from the real world into Minecraft is cool and all, the problem with that is updating the skin, right? You know, you need to update the skin. And while you can have a person do that, having a person update their skin every single day at specific times, like not a minute late or anything like that, you know, that's a bit annoying, especially if that would be at midnight. So I'd want that to be a program which does it for me, right? Obviously on one of my alt accounts. I'm not gonna, you know, have bad skins on my main accounts, and I'm not gonna make, you know, over 300 skins that look good. So yeah, then I found a wonderful API that Mojang made. I can actually update your skin. It's wonderful. However, the main issue that I found with it was that it's a good API, and well, you know what? You know what would be really bad for this API to have? Just a really simple, you know, entrance point, because, well, obviously what you need is to make sure that the person is actually the person who owns the account. So you need to transmit the password and the username, and you also need to transmit the skin. And all the APIs that I've worked on until that point were APIs that were like, hey, I can give you Pokemon information, and you don't need to have an account, and you can quite literally just go to this website and it gives you all the information, JSON format, and ta-da, you have it. You know, like simple APIs that they teach you to work with in programming school, and they don't teach you to work with complex ones, because why would they? So yeah, then I basically, you know, read through, and there was actually, like, you know, in this API there was one for obviously changing your skin, and you know, there was also a wonderful explanation, which included something that I had absolutely never heard of, and it was a thing that I needed to use. So yeah, it took me a couple of days to figure it out, but in the end, it worked. So then I was honestly really happy. Honestly, it all worked out. I mean, I could change my skin every single day, just like that. I mean, I did do it in PHP, which was honestly a really bad idea. I should have done it in a different language, which was superior. But yeah, you know, as a concept, like, it actually worked, right? Like, you know, there would have been issues, like, I needed to host the program so it was constantly running, and I needed to, you know, like that, you know, I needed to have a Minecraft account which was constantly getting updated, and Minecraft accounts cost money, and hosting cost money, and to do all that, and then get it, you know, no money in return. It's not that good of a business strategy, but hey, I wasn't that good at business strategies anyway, so hey, it's fine. But yeah, honestly, at that point, everything was working, and I was honestly really happy. I was very pleased that I could get a skin updated through my own program, like my own website. Like, how cool is that? Like, being able to change your own skin without going to the launcher or using anyone else's code, like making it all yourself. Like, that was pretty cool in my opinion. But yeah, that was before it all went downhill. The date was unrecoverable. I don't know when this happened. I kind of don't have the date. I think I probably went to cry in a voice chat with people instead of typing a message. So yeah, I have no idea when this was. But yeah, the main downfall of this idea is, well, obviously it's all based around the updating of the player skin, right? Obviously, like, that's the whole premise of the data pack, the API. Well, player head updating is also relevant. So after having tried to update my skin for a couple days and finally succeeding, I slowly came to the discovery that, well, updating my player heads in game was also difficult. And there are also some issues like, for example, you get a player head by using Skull Owner as a tag, right? Skull Owner, great. What Skull Owner does is say, hey, I want the skin of this player. Wonderful. And it shows you the skin of that player, wonderful. But it doesn't have any other tags yet. Then if you place it down, and then break it again, then the skin updates, and you get all of those very long texts that define the texture. So at that point, even if you would say, hey, this is someone else's head, it's still fine. They have the data stored. It's fine. Well, placing down as a player is rather difficult when you are not actually a player, but a data pack. But like after an hour of fiddling around, I got that solved. I think I used set block or maybe something with a loot table. I don't quite remember. It's like it's coming up to being a year ago. All right, so please don't be mad. Like I don't have the best memory in the whole wide world. So then after I got the checking the data solved, well, the skin needed to update. So I changed the skin in the launcher because I was lazy. So I changed my skin, placed down a new head, and it had the same skin. So apparently, the skin actually updated whenever you relogged into the world, and for a single player world, that's fine. Honestly, for a single player world, that still is moderately decent. Like, I don't expect people to be never logging off of a world, right? But what I always do with my data packs is make them multiplayer compatible. So like all my data packs, like you can play with multiple people, all of them. Like some of them have like a player cap, like I made a cool data pack which added limited slots if you died because a YouTuber was wanting to do the challenge. And I was like, well, I could just make a data pack really quickly. But yeah, it didn't actually end up getting used, sadly. But like even there, I added multiplayer compatibility. Like even though it was completely a single player series, like it was definitely a single player series. But yeah, I added up to 20 players that could play that at the same time because why wouldn't I? It's cool. I always add multiplayer compatibility. However, on a server, logging on and logging off, well, that's actually on a server different than on a single player world because the world is actually still open if you log off. Like, if no one's on, the server's still online, So unless you have like a cheap server on a very cheap hosting site, which turns off your server constantly, and then puts you in a queue for 7,000. Oh my god, my early playtesting days were awful. Like, I wanted to playtest my minigame, so I opened up a server, and it put me in 7,000th place in a queue. Like, why? Anyway, right. Not the trauma I wanted to talk about today. So, yeah, like, on a server, it, you know, you would need to turn off your server and turn on your server every single day. And, you know, it isn't the biggest issue in the world that you can't. Like, that you need to turn on, turn off your world and stuff. But it was honestly just the thing that really put me off. And, after that, there was a new version that came out. I don't know if it was 1.17 or 1.16. I cannot remember when they came out. It's all blurred by now. And the feature that was added was that player heads update not instantaneously anymore, because when they updated instantaneously, player heads were really laggy. Like, for instance, if you did a /gif for 10 player heads at once, like in Lucky Block, the Lucky Block mod had one drop that drops player heads, or at least maybe in an add-on version of it, and that always lagged for 2 seconds whenever you opened the Lucky Block and that drop came out. Like, that's not that neat. So I get that they solved it. Yeah, I think that's probably would have made things even more difficult as well, because, well, it's no longer consistent with updating. So yeah. Yeah, it's honestly, you know, looking back, it was a really nice project, and I did learn something, you know, by, like, I did end up making my own skin updating service. Like, that was pretty cool. Obviously non-public, like, once again, hosting can cost money. So yeah, but, like, I don't know, I did have fun, like, trying to figure it all out, and it was kind of awkward doing a stream of 2 hours and at the end coming to the conclusion, alright, it does not function. Yeah, that's it for today. Hope you all enjoyed, and goodbye! Like, that was kind of an awkward ending. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, all in all, I did have fun trying to make it all work, and as a concept, it was really elegant, and I felt like I could make a quick video about it, because, well, you know, it is a pretty nice concept, even if it doesn't work, sadly. But yeah, that's basically it. I have been rambling on for quite a while. This is all just me doing the first take, and honestly just then pressing stop record and then start record and just not even looking at what I recorded. I do kind of notice that it was quite a lot of rambling, but yeah, you know, I don't know. That's, like, as long as I record the kind of content that is easily recordable, then I create an audience which likes the kind of content. So, you know, it's fine, it's fine. You know, yeah, it's fine. Alright, anyhow, I did hope you all enjoyed the concept, like I did, you know. I had a lot of fun talking to people about the concept while I believed it to be possible. And, you know, it's taken me about 10 months, but I'm finally over the trauma, and I'm willing to talk about it. Okay, so yeah, anyway. With that all said and done, I hope you all enjoyed. And, don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh my god, I'm such a good YouTuber. And, comment if you want to, like, see more of this kind of videos. I don't have that many failed concepts, because I am a very efficient datapack creator, and I never make any mistakes at all. I have quite a lot of these. But yeah, with that all said and done, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.